You'll ever wonder what happened to Carrie Hilson's music career? It got knocked down and she on BET now. College sweethearts Landon and Liv become husband and wife. Landon becomes a physician at Emerson Vista Hospital, while Liv becomes one of the top interior designers. However, by 2018, she hasn't been getting many clients and has trouble conceiving. In a TV interview, Dr. Landon Richards advocates for Black women's healthcare and says it's important to him because of Liv, the only woman he has ever loved. After 10 years of breaking each other's backs, Landon and Liv are still childless. One day after Landon leaves for work, Liv posts a photo of their never-worn newborn clothes to sell them. At the farmer's market, Liv shares with her friend Charlotte that the stress and pressure of baby making have taken a toll on her, and Landon's emotional unavailability is making her feel worse. After Charlotte leaves, Liv bumps into relationship psychologist Alexis, who tells her that she has overheard her conversation with Charlotte. Alexis, girl, that wig with them bangs is not it. Alexis informs her that she's in the process of opening an office nearby and that she's interested in seeing her before they launch. When Liv returns home, an emotional Landon confronts her about selling their never-worn newborn clothes because they've agreed not to give up, prompting Liv to express her frustration. Because of their fight, Liv decides to see Alexis. In the session, Liv shares that she feels lost because her marriage is turning sour, she's struggling to conceive, and her career is non-existent while Landon's career is booming. Alexis tells Liv that it's important to have Landon with her, so Liv promises to convince him to come. After the session, Alexis gets psycho and knocks the mirror, but she got right back up when it knocks her down. At home, Landon informs Liv that he's going to have Saturday shifts, which upsets her because he didn't consult her first. Liv informs him that she has started therapy and asks him to go with her so they can settle their issues, but he a Black man, so he don't believe in therapy. The next day, her brother Jace comes over, and he's actually a nice bro, unlike Roy in Beauty in Black. He gives his sister words of wisdom and reassures her how strong she is. He even says her therapist is fine as hell. In another session, Liv talks about Landon avoiding her by working on Saturdays, refusing to go to therapy, and not wanting to touch her coochie unless it's to make a baby. Alexis tells her that he probably feels like a sham because he's an OBGYN without a baby. Alexis advises Liv to create a situation that will make Landon believe that he has changed his mind about attending therapy by starting a confrontational fight that airs everything out. By doing this, he'll think that attending therapy will be the best thing he can do to save their marriage. This a ghetto-ass therapist telling her patient to start a fight. Later that night, Landon wakes up from a nightmare. A woman was holding a gun, and Landon grabs the gun from her. When Liv asks him what's wrong and who Tara is, since he's screaming her name, he tells her that Tara is his patient who almost died, so it must be haunting his subconscious. Remembering Alexis's advice, Liv uses this to start a loud fight. The cops arrive almost immediately and tell them that someone reported domestic violence at their address. After checking, the cops leave, and Liv sees Alexis nearby. Girl, Alexis sussy. She out here to get revenge for losing her career for shading Beyonce. The next day, Alexis visits Landon's clinic as a patient. During the pap smear, Alexis flirts with Landon and then starts moaning, making Landon uncomfy. She says Landon's wife real lucky because Landon knows how to use his fist. In another session, Liv shares that her advice worked and Landon promised to show up. When Liv mentions that she saw her jogging by when she walked the cops out, Alexis says she jogs in their area every Friday. Landon arrives and is shocked to see Alexis, who is all smiles as their therapist. He tries to cooperate, but he later feels like they're ganging up on him, so he leaves. When Liv runs after him, he says Alexis is a problem, but Liv asks him not to villainize Alexis just because she's not siding with him. While with Charlotte, Liv receives a call from Alexis, who refers a wealthy client to her. Alexis also offers to help Liv with her business's social media, which Charlotte finds odd because it crosses a lot of boundaries. Meanwhile, Landon tells Jace that the therapist is weird. Jace thinks she's fine. In another session, Liv informs Alexis that Landon is no longer coming, prompting Alexis to say that Landon is giving up on their marriage, so they should end their therapist-client relationship. Since Liv is no longer a patient, Alexis offers to be friends, which Liv accepts, and they work on Liv's business's social media. Alexis makes Liv log in to a social media app and open the editing app she sent her so she can edit her photos there. When Liv's laptop's battery is about to die, Alexis volunteers to get the charger from her car. Liv says the car keys are in her bag, so Alexis brings her bag with her. Liv got no survival skills. Since Alexis hasn't returned yet, Liv decides to open a yearbook she finds. To her surprise, she sees Landon in it, making her want to leave, but she's locked inside. Going through the yearbook again, Liv sees Landon with his then-girlfriend, Tora Bridges. Liv immediately puts it back when Alexis returns and opens the door she says is broken. When asked why it took her so long to return, Alexis says she got an emergency call from her 16-year-old son's school. This trifling ass need to learn how to lie better. Later that night, Landon comes home to find their crib broken. He confronts Liv for destroying it because he refuses to go to therapy, but Liv denies doing so. Their fight leads to Liv revealing that she is resurrecting her business and asking him who Tora is. Unbeknownst to the couple, there's a camera in their bedroom. Meanwhile, Alexis is watching their fights live stream in the room in her house, which is filled with photos of Landon and Liv. She weirdly got a Landon tattoo on her back too. Alexis rewinds the video and watches from the part where she installed the camera in the couple's bedroom. She then gets off on watching herself wearing lingerie and fisting herself in the couple's bed. This girl nasty. The next day, Liv's client terminates their contract because, although he likes her, he received a call from Liv's former client who told him that she's unprofessional and a nightmare to work with. When the confused Liv asks who it is, the client says the caller ID says Emerson Vista Hospital. Before hanging up, the client advises her to be careful about what she posts on social media, prompting Liv to check hers. She is then horrified to see photos she didn't post. Photos of her complaining about clients and wearing lingerie. When Landon calls Liv to ask about dinner, she tearfully confronts him about sabotaging her career, which he denies. Later that night, Liv finds an earring in the nursery. The next day, Liv explains to Charlotte why she thinks the broken crib, the earring, and the cop's wellness check are connected to Alexis. She adds that she saw Landon's high school yearbook in Alexis's office and saw a photo of him with his high school sweetheart Tara, whose name he screamed in his sleep, and he claimed Tara was his patient. Girl finally connecting the dots. Later that night, Liv initiates making up with Landon, telling him that she has realized that Alexis was trying to tear them apart and sharing everything that brought her to that conclusion. Because of this, Landon shares about Alexis's moaning in the clinic. Thinking that confronting her might worsen the situation, they decide to use Jace's D to get information about her. Landon ends up examining Liv's vag, angering Alexis, who's watching them through the camera. The next day, Liv introduces Jace to Alexis, and the pair end up going on a date. Damn, her melon's larger than his biceps. The two end up banging at Alexis's house. At around 2 a.m., Jace texts Liv that he's with Alexis as he walks around Alexis's house. To his horror, he finds the room filled with photos of Landon, Liv, and him. Unfortunately, before he can inform Liv about it, Alexis stabs him to death. When Liv and Landon don't hear from Jace the next day, Liv reports Jace's disappearance. However, the police brush it off because Jace is a member of the U.S. Army and Alexis is popular. The police think the pair is just too busy doing each other. Liv calls the school Alexis graduated from, but the registrar says they don't have records of someone with that name. Charlotte then suggests getting Alexis's DNA. Liv tails Alexis, leading her to learn where she lives and what her front door lock code is. Liv enters Alexis's house but fails to get anything with DNA, and she almost gets caught. Liv meets with Alexis for dinner, where she sneakily takes her straw. When Liv asks about Jace, Alexis says she hasn't seen him. Unfortunately, Alexis has sneakily taken Liv's phone and sees Charlotte's text asking Liv to bring the straw so she can run the DNA. Liv later realizes she has lost her phone, and Charlotte says it might be with Alexis. Meanwhile, Alexis heads to the Landon's residence to return Liv's phone. She asks Landon to let her apologize inside and is given 5 minutes. Alexis says she's better than Liv and reveals the melons underneath her coat while coming onto Landon. As she's about to lick his Tootsie Pop, Landon realizes that she's Tora upon seeing her tattoo. When he points out that she looks different, she says she had undergone total reconstructive surgery after he threw her off the roof, which Landon denies, saying she fell. Alexis says she tried to move on with her life, but she got triggered when he said in an interview that Liv is the only woman he ever loved. She then reveals that their son had survived and is now 16 years old and looks so much like him, pointing out that he could have been the father he has always dreamed of if only he had chosen her. When she makes him choose between her and her son and Liv, Landon chooses Liv, prompting her to backhand slap him into next week. Charlotte successfully matches Alexis's DNA with Tora's, confirming they're the same person. When they look up Tora, they find an online article about Tora and Landon's engagement. Shortly after, Liv returns home and finds Landon unconscious. Meanwhile, Alexis attempts to harm Charlotte at the annex, but Charlotte, who has collected information and articles about Tora, outsmarts her. Alexis screams in frustration. BET movies giving Tubi vibes. Landon reveals to Liv that Tora is his ex-fiancée, and they got engaged when they were seniors in high school. Months later, Tora showed psychotic, violent behavior, prompting him to call off the wedding 10 minutes before their wedding. Months later, she broke into his college dorm room with a gun and chased him to the roof, where she showed him a sonogram and said he had left her pregnant, alone, and humiliated. He told her he didn't know she was pregnant and tried to take her gun, but the struggle led to Tora falling off the roof. Landon transferred to a school far away to start a new life and acted like it never happened. However, he kept getting nightmares about it. After Landon reveals that his son is alive, Liv receives a text from Alexis, who's introducing herself as Tora and using Jace's phone, asking her to get Jace. Liv and Landon enter Alexis's house, where Alexis is waiting for them with a knife. She licks the knife. Landon tries to talk her out of harming them, but she attacks them. While Alexis knocks out an injured Landon, Liv discovers Jace's corpse in a bathtub, all them muscles for nothing. After a struggle, Liv throws Alexis down the stairs and stabs her with a knife. The cops arrive and the detective informs Landon and Liv that Alexis is in surgery and will likely survive. She adds that her 16-year-old son doesn't exist because her baby died due to the fall years ago. 18 months later, Landon and Liv have a healthy relationship. Liv goes back to work, which Landon supports, and they have a healthy baby boy they name Jace. Meanwhile, Alexis is in prison, still delulu about Landon loving her. She plans on reuniting with him when she gets out of prison. Unbeknownst to the guards, she has her phone with her inside her cell, so she still monitors Landon's family through the camera in the bedroom, getting ready to fist herself again. Y'all, this was a mess, but a tad better than Tubi movies because the characters put the pieces together halfway through the movie. Them Tubi movies make their characters realize trifling hoes at the end of fourth quarter. What did you guys think of this one?
Subscribe to watch more videos like this. Turn on notifications. And leave a like, it really helps the channel out. Thank you for watching.